Really quick looking at nSolve, polynomial roots, and systems of equation solver. So this is some of the basics that students often have to do in tests, is solve some equations. So I'm going to look at the different options. So they're in the menu. So if we press menu, and they're in number 3, algebra, and we have these 3 open to us: numerical solve, solve system of linear equations, and polynomial tools. I'm going to use the first one. Now the first one is great for real basic things. So if I want to do x plus 3 and it equals 5, it won't work like this because the calculator won't know what you're trying to solve. So you have to put in comma x. So now it knows you're trying to solve it for x, and you enter it and it gives you the answer. No problem. Let's do that again. So menu, 3, numerical solve, but this time I want to solve a quadratic equation. So this quadratic equation is x squared plus 5x plus 6, and I'm going to make that equal to 0 and make it solve for x. Now, we know there's 2 answers to this, but when the calculator uses the nSolve, it only straight away gives me 1 answer. Now, I'm going to do another video on why you should use nSolve for some things, but for polynomials we won't, because you have to put in conditions. So it gives me 1 answer only. A much better way to solve a polynomial is to go into this menu, algebra again. We're going to go into our solves, but we're going to go to polynomial tools. And then we get another option again. So I can press enter and it gives me another option. I'm just going to keep it easy. Find roots of polynomials. So I want 2 roots of the polynomial. And then it's asking me to input what the coefficients were. Now ours was 1x squared, 5x's, and 6. Just like the previous equation. So I'm going to enter all of that, and it enters everything for me, and it'll know, because it's looking for a root, that it's equal to 0. And the polynomial roots will do my 2 answers, which are -2 and -3, straight away. So I would say use polynomial roots if you're solving quadratics, use nSolve for linear, whilst we just keep it simple. Whilst we're doing this, we can solve more than that. We could solve one with an x cubed in it. So I'm going to say there are 3 degrees, and I want my roots as real. And this one is x cubed. Now, I'm going to make a mistake deliberately, and I'm going to say it's x cubed minus 8 equals 0, and press OK. It doesn't like that. So it wants these to be filled in with zeros. So again, this is x cubed minus 8 equals 0. Now I'm looking for real answers. So this would just give me the 1 root, which is 2. You can ignore this if you're not into complex numbers yet, but if you're an IB, higher level student, then you will know that you can do this very quickly, polynomial, and I'm going to do complex roots, and I'm going to type in the same thing, x cubed minus 8, comma x, and it will give me 3 roots. There at the end is my real root, and here are my 2 complex roots. And finally, kind of what it does what it says on the tin, is the solve system of linear equations. So this is when you have simultaneous equations. Now you can have a system of 3 equations or 2 equations. You can change these variables if you want. I'm just going to keep it as 2 and solve for x and y. I'm just going to make something up. So I'm just going to type in 3x minus 2y equals 5. And come down here and 2x plus 4, let's make it 7y equals 0. Hopefully this has a solution, and there it gives me my solution. And that's a very easy way to do system of equations. So just to summarize, we've got the nSolve for linear. Try not to use the nSolve for quadratics unless you know what you're doing. Use polynomial roots. If you're into complex numbers, you've got your complex polynomial root solver, and then you've got your simultaneous equation solver.